people. So, Mary Barbara, we are talking about servant leadership.
Yes.
And I'm wondering if folks might be interested in knowing more details about
What
servant.
it is.
What
Sure.
it is?
So what it is a set of practices that when used in a sincere, compassionate, authentic way will bring incredible results. And we've listed the 10 principles of servant leadership here, as you can see. And of course, we're not going to talk about all 10 of them today. But, and I'm going to read some notes that Anne had put together about servant leadership because the wording is important and I want to get it right. So bear with me while I read this. One of the primary methods that a servant leader uses to build a high performing team is seeking input and help from their team in order to achieve the best outcomes. Anne has already mentioned the people doing the work, and we can think back to our great opening slide with that cute dog, trudging along, not unhappy, just doing his job, as we say. But, really that idea, the people doing the work, oh, he's supposed to be the leader. I think it's the people on top of him, the little other animals on top of him, are the most knowledgeable about what the real issues and needs are for a particular task, project, or situation. So remembering that as the leader, we're really pulling together the team to help us move forward and achieve goals. The leader has certain roles that they will accomplish, but turning to those people that serve us, that we work, that not serve us, that we serve, that work with us, because they're the ones that understand their budget. They're the ones that understand what resources are available. They're the ones that really know if there's enough French fries being made, if we have enough cups to make to serve drinks, whatever it is. So asking for help doesn't make you weak. This is also very important. Asking for help does not make you weak. It's really the opposite. This kind of vulnerability makes you approachable, authentic, and perhaps most importantly, elevates the level of trust you have among your team members. So really taking that all together, that's really the basis of servant leadership is pulling together your team, serving them, understanding that they have the knowledge and skill set and motivation to move your whole company forward and knowing how to do that. So Ann and I thought that we would cover two of the first two anyway of these principles, foresight and conceptualization. Is there anything you want to add, Ann, to what I've said?
Not at this. I'll put an asterisk by this to come.
Okay.
To
Okay.
come
All right.
opportunity. Let's talk
So
about foresight. What
yeah,
can you tell us?
foresight. So foresight is the ability to see what will be needed in the future. Again, I'm back to reading my notes. I was trying not to, but then I worry that I'm going to miss something if I don't read them. Uh, so for example, the cliche is true, change happens. So how do we manage change and minimize resistance that so often comes with it? How do we take advantage of the change so that we actually become stronger as a result? We look to our team. After all, they're the ones who have the direct experience. They are, as our little graphics have shown, the frontline workers. So they're also the ones most likely to be impacted by that change. So tapping into their areas of expertise, we've talked about that. But so foresight is the ability to see what will be needed in the future. And that's how, as a servant leader, you know your team, you know what they have, their skills, their abilities, tapping into all that information to help us or help you move forward in achieving the goal. Um,
So let
and
me just, yes, I wanted, I'm literally on the edge of my seat because I want to share another sad example.
oh, okay.
Then I'll
But
take
one meant to inspire.
yes. And then I'll take a collection when I'm finished. It's the idea of involving people in the conversation, bringing folks to the table. I mean, okay, let's be realistic. If I have if I'm the, for example, if I'm the team leader and I've got 15 people that report to me, we can't invite me and my entire team to the table. I can, however, come, sit at the table, share some insights, issues, concerns, ideas, opinions, whatever that looks like, and then take that back to my team. It's when you don't invite a representative to the table, to me, you're shooting yourself in the foot. Because what happens is, and this is my example, where there was a major event that was being planned. I was going to be generating the bulk of the work for that event. I was not invited to the table for whatever reason. And the way I got my information was at the end of the meeting, I was forwarded a copy of the minutes. And then I would have to go across the hall to someone who was at the meeting to get clarification, ask more questions. So I was getting all my information secondhand. Now, the event went off without a hitch. All right. Because I did only what I was supposed to do, no more, no less. Because I was not invited to be involved, to be engaged. And that eliminated the level or minimized the level of enthusiasm that I had or willingness to do anything above and beyond, right? So it kind of put out the fire that might ordinarily have been there. So I think, it's I've run up against some who say, well, we can't invite everybody. It's just everybody will the meetings will take twice as long, and when it's like, who cares? Okay, first of all, follow the agenda, whole other training. Second, it's like it's you have to look at these things as an investment in your time and energy. It
Hmm.
may take a little bit longer for that meeting. Who cares? The people that are most impacted, the people that are going to do the bulk of the work are there to get clear on what it is in terms of expectations and outcomes. And they're energized, they're enthused. They walk away with a skip in their step and a song in their heart. It's like, how soon can I get started on this?
I think to your point, Ann, I also, as I think back, just the behind the scenes information, what happens is I think sometimes leaders start to worry they might lose control or somebody might they are afraid that somebody else will become the leader over them, and in most situations that's really not going to happen. If you're confident in doing your job, no one's going to take your job away from you. It's when we have a fear that we're not doing our job well and that we're going to be discovered, which means you have some skills to work on there, but so does everybody, and not everybody wants to be a leader. I for one do not want to be the director. I mean, I kind of lead my own little company, if you will. I work for myself. I'm a consultant. But I for one don't want to be the director of workforce and education development at WVUP. I already know somebody who is, and she's fabulous at it. Let her be fabulous. I'm happy to be the consultant and get called
Mhm.
when the time is right. I don't want the day-to-day headaches of all that nonsense. So there's plenty of people that don't want your job, right? And if you're good at your job and
Right.
you're competent, you don't have to worry about losing your job to anybody else. So giving people information, not withholding that information, giving people opportunity to participate doesn't undo or take away from you at all. And that's what we're talking about here with foresight. In fact, it actually builds you up because you've opened up those doors and let people come into the room to share and grow together. You've built the team and allowed them to gel and be cohesive.
And thank you for that. It makes a lot of sense for me and hopefully others. Another
Hopefully.
thing I was another thing I was thinking about, pre-recording was we were talking about leadership in terms of its definition, and I was sharing with you one that I got. It's from a book called Leadership Challenge, and it's a good leader is one that inspires others who want to then struggle for a shared vision. So that key word to me is inspire.
Hmm.
And that is what a servant leader does. He or she can let go and be the inspiration of why we're doing what we're doing. And connected to that is influence. By me inspiring you, I am then influencing or guiding your behavior in a way so that we can meet and exceed expectations.
Perfect.
So, yeah.
Let's move on to conceptualization. That's the other thing,
Okay.
principle, the second principle we're talking about today. And this really comes down to vision and mission. Uh, this is how you go through, get to that, the goals that you've set ahead. You have to know what your vision is and you have to know what the mission. I said that the last time we were recording. Mission is for your organization. And then once you have those things set, you can come back again to your team and ask for their input. Again, they know the resources available to them. They know what the frontline people need in order to achieve the mission and the vision of your organization. So that's what conceptualization is about, is actually putting the practicalities of it together and then having your team set goals and objectives that they'll be able to use to achieve those things. You could be the authoritarian leader and just tell people what they're going to do. The servant leader is going to ask their opinion and ask for their input and ask for data and research and reports and ideas, right? Coming back to those things. So it's really, I don't know if you have an example of vision and mission, Anne, or something else to add.
No, well, I think no. You go.
That's fine. That's all right. We've gotten the idea. So, there are these 10 principles of servant leadership. The two that we're starting with today talking about is foresight and conceptualization. All of those things mean is to have an idea of where you want your group to go, writing the vision and mission statements to help guide your group to those goals. But the servant leadership is giving everyone on your team that opportunity to play their part and do their part uh, to help you achieve those things. The traditional leader would just tell people what they're going to do. The servant leader asks for input. So there.
And yeah, and traditional leaders tell them what they're going to do and then basically just walks away. I mean,
Exactly.
they
Right.
don't
Yeah.
ask. There was well, I don't know if this is an exact example, but I do recall a circumstance. A friend of mine just got a new boss, and he walks in and gives everyone like a copy of this book, Message to Garcia.
Oh, right.
Did I tell you this already?
Well, you did, but we didn't talk about it in a
Oh, okay.
recording.
So I'll try to make it brief. But the idea was, it's like his words were, read this book and then we'll talk about it at our next meeting. So a diverse group of people in the room, although they had basically the same, they were engineers, so they had that in common, but it was men, women, old, young, that kind of diversity. And just the meaning they attached to that was just off, it's everything from we're all getting fired to, this guy's a lunatic and stuff. And eventually it came around to that whole idea of where are we going? If this is his first day on the job, he's already done something. They couldn't figure out his purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Was it shock therapy? Was it he was trying to be inspirational? But as it turned out, he was more on the authoritative side than he was servant leadership, because it came down to, well, I've read this in a book somewhere and this is the way we're doing it. And did not allow any asking questions for clarification. Um, I want to do a good job. I'm just not sure what you mean by this or what direction you're trying to take us. And that, to me, is a really big point for leadership is people will not follow you blindly.
No.
They want to know where we're going and how we're going to get there. And I think that's where foresight and conceptualization come in. The foresight, here's where we're going to go based on your input, your ideas, your work experience, so on and so forth. And here's how we're going to get there with your help. And I'm going to take care of you, because this probably won't be an easy road to go. There's always a bump in the road, right?
Right.
And I'm going to take care of you, make sure that we all get there. So that whole idea of just coming in and throwing the book on the table, it's like, I would really like to follow up with this and say, what was your purpose in that?
I actually think you're hitting on something, again, a different training. But when leaders are leaders, especially if they're new managers, there's a level of insecurity because they got the job because they were good at what they were doing, not because they're good managers. And so if you're new to being a manager or leading a bigger team, however you grow, the higher up you go, there's always going to be some level of insecurity, and perhaps this person was attack them before they attack me,
There you
like,
go.
put them on the back foot and get in there right away and just tell them how it's going to be while I'm in my office trying to figure it out anyway.
And now that you
Imposter syndrome, right? I mean, some people have imposter syndrome. We all do probably at some point. And I work at a level at which I feel comfortable. I've taken on jobs where I did not feel comfortable at all, and grew and learned to, navigate those waters. But, that's
Mhm.
also, we're professional facilitators. So our job is to always be kind of in these uncomfortable situations and get used to it. But anyway, that's what that guy makes me think, is that he
Mhm.
didn't know what he was doing. Obviously, he didn't know what he was doing, or he was insecure. And, his way of getting things going was just, to your point, be a traditional leader. And that way, no questions asked. And that way, I can't look stupid
Right,
or unknowledgeable because nobody has a chance to ask and find out.
right, for sure. To get
So,
clarity around that. Yeah.
exactly.
Right. So
Is that it? Oh, no, we have
a
one.
final thought.
Yes.
I read this somewhere and I thought it was a quote by Anonymous. That's the research I've found. If somebody knows who said this, please let us know. All I found is it's by Anonymous. It's serving is beneath you, then leadership is beyond you.
Yeah,
And I think that is obviously, or we would not be doing this today, but I think that's very important consideration that it is all about the people that are doing the work, attending to their personal and practical needs, and trying to meet them where they are, being keenly aware
amen.
of what maybe they're struggling with, or an idea they had and they want to bring forward. There's some uncertainty of, can I do that? I mean, the list goes on. So my hope is that the next time we're together, we're talking a little bit more about some of the other qualities, characteristics, attributes of a servant leader.
Sure.
And if anyone is interested in one particular, just drop us a note either at the Frost Advisory on Facebook, or now LinkedIn.
That's right.
Awesome.
Find us out there.
Yeah, and just let us know what your interests are in terms of servant leadership, maybe some experience you've had that you'd like to share with others.
That would be great too.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, we'd love that.
So that's